And what's going on, everyone? It looks like overnight we did suffer from a little bit of a pullback. It's all right. I'll show you why as we get through this video. Things are not looking that bad. Remember, at the beginning of the year, we were below this. Yeah, we blew past it, but it's not like we're returning to some area we haven't been in 10 years or anything. Here is something that Anders L posted. Ignore this at your own risk. This first batch of information is going to be XDC related. Check this out.
Ethereum. Now, one thing that you may have seen with XDC is they actually discontinued their ERC XDC token. So they used to have a derivative on the Ethereum blockchain of XDC where you could redeem I believe it was XDCE for XDC. It was almost like you can tap into a broader Ethereum market to buy XDC. And they actually just discontinued the XDCE token, I believe about a month ago. And I don't believe that changes so much of the of some of the structure with it running on the Ethereum virtual machine, but it's no longer running on the Ethereum network, primarily because it's been fully adopted on the Corda network. And I'll get into sort of the differences between Corda, XDC, R3, and Zenfin, because it's kind of this weird. It's a weird amalgamations of different companies and different software producers coming together to solve a very, very real problem. And the very, very real problem that XDC and Corda is trying to go out and solve is the privacy blockchain problem. And basically what you end up getting, and this is why people get, in my opinion, too crazy over the idea of permission and permissionless systems, because like I said, with the traditional SQL database and blockchain, there are use cases for these things. So certain use cases you may want permissionless, other use cases you may want permission.
So there you have that guy talking about that. Goes into here. The technology will now connect legacy payment systems such as SWIFT to the blockchain architecture. Is XDC network part of SWIFT's international payment platform? If only Zenfin had a connection to SWIFT. ... And here you have some articles here. Experts suggest that this move will help seamlessly connect the decentralized crypto ecosystem with the regulated market. Zenfin, in partnership with Mintner, will soon release a regulated XDC USD token to seamlessly connect the conventional financial services sector with the decentralized world of cryptocurrency. They are waiting approval by the European Securities and Markets Authorities. The XDC token would act as a settlement framework for all proprietary network-based decentralized applications. Primary challenge is to bridge the gap between regulated and unregulated crypto trading markets. The DApp ecosystem strives to be the stepping stone to launch other commercially feasible blockchain and financial products. Zenfin's entry into the regulated European market will go a long way towards legitimizing XDC as an investment tool for organizations inviting more investor participation. The Vintner XFin USD or XDC USD index has been created to provide a regulatory and more open means for tracking the price of XDC in US dollars. To this very day, regulated financial markets have limited the launch of exchange-traded funds, but with legal compliance tackled and the new index rolled out for investors, this could be the tipping point for Zenfin's highly interoperable, business-ready blockchain to be adopted in foreign trade and finance. The technology will now connect legacy payment systems such as SWIFT to the blockchain architecture. Overall, that means new possibilities for developers to create modern solutions by using capital markets for financing. Now, keep in mind, Zenfin, which is powered by R3 was once partnered with Ripple once upon a time. So you see a lot of similarities in what they're talking about and some of the technology. Good luck for anyone not holding XDC. Here's the full advisor of the XDC Zenfin with huge experience in traditional markets. And like the other article said before, it's too bad Zenfin doesn't have a link to SWIFT. Well, this talks about how in Zenfin, the tokenization and digital asset technology is part of what that guy does. And if you go over here, it looks like he was a staff with management experience in software development and new market product development at SWIFT from 1998 to 2015. That's a pretty big deal to me. The Corda developer revealed a little schematic which provides information on XRP, XLM, Algo, XDC, and Ethereum, oddly, which is pretty cool. And this just goes to show you some of the things they're looking at doing with it. You can see everybody's stocks, bonds, fiat, debt, equities, derivatives, property, smart contracts. This is pretty cool, guys. Some of this stuff is coming to a head. This is the same thing. Sorry about that. For many, DeFi is the next big technology in the financial industry. It's better, faster, and cheaper, but does it mean we will soon see the fall of retail banking? As you can see, I was reminding myself of these last night. Most of this is stuff I put together last night that I did not get to. So, DeFi is a growing thing. I don't know that it kills the banks, but I think it would be something that would be amazing to integrate with the banks. And that was pretty much all the XDC information too, by the way. I'm really bullish on that. I think everybody should do their own research and look into whether or not it would be a appropriate investment for them, because I don't give financial advice. Elon Musk agrees to speak with Twitter CEO and Jack Dorsey at Bitcoin event. I already covered that, but I think it's awesome. I was hoping that there was a date in here somewhere, but I do not see one as of yet. But stay tuned for that. I can't wait to watch that conversation. I may go live while it's streaming and watch the markets, because I can just imagine something crazy happening. Are cryptocurrencies a backstop for the stock market in a C-19-led financial crisis? Concludes that XRP and Dash are appropriate fiscal backstops for the BRICS nations. They use BTC, ETH, XRP, XMR, and Dash as top 5 crypto in the study times frame. It says our results show that in a nonlinear asymmetric framework, the relationship dynamics between stock market returns and crypto returns, both in the short and long run, are changing during the C-19 crisis period. Dash and Ripple have been found to be sustainable safe havens for all 5 markets. You're seeing it come up in a lot of different stuff. The Economics of Central Bank Digital Currency, which was released in June 2021, mentions Ripple several times. Also mentions the Australians article citing France's interest. Ripple CBDC private ledger, which is built for issuing currencies, uses the same technology that has powered the ledger for the digital currency XRP. The firm reported that it is in discussion with the central banks worldwide to assess how its CBDC private ledger can be used to issue digital currencies. I'm telling you guys, pay attention. Some more XRP news. According to the SEC, proponents of XRP have used social media to disseminate negative and false statements about members of the SEC leadership. For this reason, they do not believe Bill Hinman should be deposed. Digital asset investor chimes in and says, I am against any such dissemination. Their own words, however, I'm in, and I'm right there with you, bud.
Now, you also talked about initial coin offerings, or ICOs, which are ways of raising money using cryptocurrencies. Did you use a similar reasoning? You implied that most seem to be securities, ICOs, but some of them are not. Can you just show us what the difference is simply?
I wish we had a simple way to say this is in and this is out. As I mentioned, there are usually facts and circumstances tests. But a key factor is there a third-party promoter here who knows much more about the instrument than investors might? If that's the case, that's sort of an initial indicator that we might have a securities transaction. If people are buying it for investment and for a return and looking to that party for a return, then again, that's an indicia of a security.
Okay, so I'll talk a bit about the funding model. So we will have a fundraiser for 2 months starting February 1st. It will be available at funds.ethereum.org. So the idea is that part of the initial issuance will be 1,000 Ether for 1 Bitcoin, or up to 2,000 Ether for 1 Bitcoin if you get in early to compensate for the increased risk. So the issuance model is that we will fundraise. Suppose that we hand out X Ether through the fundraiser, then there will be about 0.5x will be pre-mined, and then 0.4x after that will be mined per year forever. So it's this hybrid of the Mastercoin and Ripple model.
In your speech that neither Bitcoin nor Ether would be considered securities and thus not under the purview of the SEC, can you very briefly explain what your reasoning is?
Sure, Bob. These are complex facts and circumstances tests, but when we look at Bitcoin or if we look at Ether and the highly decentralized nature of the networks, we don't see a third-party promoter where applying the disclosure regime would make a lot of sense. So we're comfortable in some sort of viewing these as items that don't have to be regulated as security.
That's pretty interesting there. Getting into some other type of news, XRP will fall to new lows versus Bitcoin if this famous chart pattern plays out. They're talking about it head and shoulders right here. This is one of the weaker head and shoulders I've ever seen. Typically, I don't show news that I don't know. I feel like this guy's just throwing out some FUD out here, to be honest. But it's out here. I don't want to be biased, so we're going to share it. Is it really in Ripple's best interest to behave? Because this is a great lawsuit. It says, elaborating on the scale of the hypothetical impact on the fact that if any given day of Ripple wishes, it can back off and vanish with the profits after selling the XRP it holds. However, the presence of tokens in escrow would not pave the way for the blockchain company to sell its entire share of 55 billion tokens. Even if the company decides to shed 1 billion tokens for that matter, it would hit the market hard. Yes, that would have an effect in the same way if Michael Saylor suddenly decided that I'm wrong on this. I'm joining Peter Schiff and I'm going to sell all my Bitcoin to buy gold. It's interesting because when he bought all that Bitcoin, it didn't seem to support the price whatsoever. So I think that this is a little vague on how the pressure can work on price action. But now if Ripple does that, the rest of the community would band together and pass an amendment on the network. They could get together and say we're going to effectively burn the rest of Ripple's escrow holdings. At the end of the day, if Ripple would be a more disadvantageous position when compared to the XRP market as a whole, here it should be noted that the ledger currently has 156 validator nodes, of which only 19 are Ripple's. That implies the company merely controls 12% of the nodes, while 80% consensus is required to validate transactions. So Ripple single-handedly cannot manipulate the network. If they dump 1 billion, the rest of the 54 billion would be burnt. So it really is in Ripple's best interest to behave. I don't 100% agree with that either. They don't control the escrow. I'm sure that custody-wise, sure, but it's cryptographically coded to you can't just get in there. So I don't know. Ripple's top lawyer in the SEC battle, we are currently fighting for the crypto industry. The regulatory morass is resulting in bizarre outcomes, says Stuart Alderati. He spent nearly 2 decades working for old traditional banks doing work that he described as a little soul-crushing, then opened the door to a strange new world. A headhunter reached out about 3 years ago to ask if he would consider becoming general counsel for Ripple, a then 7-year-old startup. It seemed like a crazy idea. I'll be honest with you, I didn't know much about blockchain. I know less about crypto. He told Protocol. Alderati was intrigued and eventually took the job in January 2019. It was a major career shift that he now compares to jumping off a cliff, but in a really exhilarating way. As an attorney, the opportunity to enter a relatively nascent industry and help craft a regulatory and legal framework for that industry from a blank slate was an opportunity that I couldn't pass up. Fast forward 2 years, Ripple's general counsel now finds himself on the front lines of a major legal brawl with the U.S. government in a case that could define the future of Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, and the entire blockchain industry. So I'm not going to read this whole thing, but that lets you know like basically what this article is about. I do suggest reading it. It's a great article. You know, a lot of people think that this is just an XRP Ripple thing. A lot of people don't like Ripple because they feel they're a little more centralized than the rest of crypto, and the fact that they want to work with banks and regulators, which is kind of counter crypto in its essence, I guess, to an extent. But they have also stated that a revolution is best to be launched from within and not from outside, which I agree upon. I don't know if that's where their long-term goals really lie, but I do think that the fact that this is what's going on, depending upon how this ends. Well, either way how it ends, even if it's a security, XRP doesn't go away. It's going to function. Neither does Ripple. It'll function around the world in whatever way it does. You know, it'll continue to go on. But it will be, the one thing people don't realize is that it will become the only digital asset with any regulatory clarity, period. And that is going to be huge. I think even if you do become a security, it goes that way. They end up listing on the NASDAQ or something like that. And then that's going to be, you know, ridiculous. If it's not a security, it continues business on as usual. And then we're going to watch enforcement actions unfold against everybody else afterwards. Or maybe we'll see a lot less of them because this fair notice defense and the way the SEC has played this game will allow the doors to really open up after this case. You know, it's a very, very pivotal moment for the entire space. So here we go into more fun news about Bitcoin. 10,000 would be Bitcoin's real bottom, says whatever that is. The real bottom, when you look at the technicals, would be 10,000. You know, that's probably a little extreme, so maybe 15,000. Then they go through and all this. You know, the largest cryptocurrency would need to correct another 68% to reach the most pessimistic target. I did not see that happening. Same guy, here he is again. It was just a corrective thing. On top of that, the difficulty for mining might decline by 21% for the first time in history, which would put the ease back to like 2017 times, I think, or 2018 times, it said. You know, you have this exodus of miners taking place from China, so a lot of them are shut down. Yeah, for the last time the indicator was so low was in May 2020, so it wasn't that long ago. But yeah, I mean, that's a big deal if you're a miner. Get on it. They're all relocating to different countries and stuff, and that network's going to fire right back up here in the very near term. Bitcoin is being aggressively accumulated by strong hands, says analyst. The Bitcoin sell-off is absorbed by long-term holders. Breakdowns. Breaking down the week's on-chain metrics, which unequivocally show that the market's most experienced holders are continuing to accumulate at an impressive rate. Big money is buying the dips. At the same time, the number of most influential Bitcoin holders, which means you have to have over 1,000 Bitcoin, the number of stable coins on centralized exchanges also spiked to historic highs, as noticed by you today recently. Potentially, this indicates the increased interest in buying. Meanwhile, some miners are selling their riches even among the ongoing dip. This would likely be attributed to the intensified China crackdown on crypto and mining. Processes registered on over-the-counter platforms should be also interpreted as bullish signs, according to that analyst. Crypto Wizard talks about XRP. I'm going to show you guys some of these TA guys that I follow. As a doji and above the support target, while XRP was influenced by Bitcoin and closed bearish. However, the XRP BTC will take charge in the near future. Bitcoin's dominance chart is finding a resistance, so we should see some changes. This person says you're bound to get one of these predictions right. Rooting for you, Wizard. The predictions are the same, 72 cents and 95 cents. These are daily technicals. They're updates on the market position. They're not changing bias daily. Please compare them and you'll see these targets haven't changed and will be met, period. These guys all have pretty good track records too. Leb Cryptos is talking about how it looks like Bitcoin is hunting for liquidity, which could, as you're seeing here, take it down a notch before we get out of here. Leb also goes on to say, are we retesting the 2017 highs in August? Which would, put you down in there. Let's see here. And Leb also says, by macro Elliott wave count, this is one of the ones I'm paying the most attention. Get ready for a boring and bearish upcoming 4 and 5 months. Keep in mind, this was posted at the end of May, when Bitcoin will be declared dead and going to zero yet again. Final major leg up, wave 5 should be powerful. It'll be a massive impulse wave. Some of these haven't even been impulse waves on the way back up. Final major leg up should be powerful, leaving most of retail who have given up and sold for a loss behind. And I firmly believe this. Dark Defender goes on, says, Deers, I've prepared you a long-term chart of XRP. So this is for the investors and not for the traders. I will get my coffee. You grab yours. Let's take a look. When she starts, it will be astonishing. There will be no more death, neither sorrow nor tears. XRP community, remember. Dark Defender's really good. This is an older tweet that I just like to reference. It's he posts some really awesome stuff throughout the week. When next time he comes out with an update, I'll be sure to get that on the channel too. Oh, never mind, I already have one. Hello, dears. Hope you are all well. I grabbed my coffee. Please take yours and let's have a look at the daily chart below. XRP is again in a narrowed area. Supports are at 55 and 47. Resistances at 66, 85, and $1.06. The move is yet to be completed. Enjoy. And you see the general theme here. Going back to what they were saying about being prepared for the boring 4 to 5 months. This is what we discussed today in today's video. This is Blockchain Backer. In 2017, we had a much more violent capitulations followed by aggressive reversals. In 20 to 21, they've been much more drawn out. Same goes for the tops. So what's interesting here, this is August of 2020. This is February through June, or August through October, excuse me. This is February through June of 2021. Now, if you notice, We're talking about Wyckoff structures for the distribution. I don't care what you say, they are here, man. Especially right there. And then you notice, and I believe it looks like what could be going on there. So as we're seeing in those other ones he's talking about, you had the capitulation and then you would V-bottom out of there. It's pretty aggressive on the way back out. It's not happening on either one of these, but these structures, if you look at the similarities here, I mean, these structures are super similar. And what is interesting about that is he's saying, the one analyst said 4 to 5 months of slow stuff. Well, here we are in September going all the way through October, and which isn't 4 or 5 months, but it's still pretty, several months before you start to really see the climb. And then again, consolidating again through October, and then boom, finally towards the end of October popping. So if you look at it from that standpoint, we would still have to get into August before we would see that. We would be consolidating into June, bought back up, and then at whatever rate it decides to take off. I think this is fantastic. BC Bagger is my favorite chart analyst, period. He does several different markets, so I just like his view. It's not a crypto view, it's a market view, it's a human psychology and technical analysis view. Crypto Bull 2020 says, I'm sticking to my analysis here, not because it's fun, but because it's realistic. If Bitcoin closes the day below 31.7, we will go to 30,000. If we close below 30,000, we will visit 26,000 next. It would mean XRP to 55 or even below 50 cents. So keep your heads on a swivel, people. I'm going to keep on showing you the good and the bad for this stuff. I want everybody to feel prepared, be able to make their own decisions. I'm still bullish. I don't care. I'm holding on. If it drops to below 50 cents, I'll be buying more. That's not financial advice. That's just definitely what we'll be doing over here at the True Perception household. And with that, I'm going to get off of here. This information is probably slightly dated now because it was all compiled last night. I will try to get out another video later today.